The World Cup games got underway today with the first match here in Kansas City kicking off Tuesday. Responders around the region spent months planning to keep the thousands of fans from around the globe safe and secure. And tonight's To Your Health, 13's Melissa Bruner gives us an inside look at how Topeka's Stormont Vale is ready.
Stormont Vale in Topeka is the primary trauma center for Tier 2. That's the area outside the Kansas City metro.
If something happens, a mass casualty event happens, all that overflow is going to probably come to us if it's involved in a trauma.
Stormont's System Director for Security and Emergency Management, Ron Dean, said partner agencies around the region, along with FIFA, have held discussions and drills. They're anticipating both regular health care and threats that might come with a global audience, including a lone wolf attack with multiple patients.
If one of those comes into the hospital, what is going to follow? Is there a secondary threat? With that in mind, how are we going to align our officers to ensure that our staff, our patients, and our visitors are kept safe once they get here?
And anything metal or electronic in your pockets.
Dean says while the sheer size of the World Cup crowd does bring unique concerns and coordination, security itself is nothing new.
We work very closely with law enforcement. This is what we do every day of the year. We are constantly scanning and looking for threats that come in. And we do that using our multi-layer security system.
A key layer in that system?
In this hospital, we probably have about 1,000 cameras.
A camera network that puts eyes everywhere, monitored from this control center. It's coupled with weapons detection systems, both passive tools using AI technology and more hands-on scanners like those at the ER entrance. Beyond threats of violence, state health officials provide regular updates on international outbreaks of infectious disease.
We spent over the last few weeks really a lot of focus on how are we going to handle hantavirus and Ebola.
As prepared as they feel, Dean says you play a role in filling any gaps.
It is regular communication from the public that helps us to keep this entire environment safe.
If you see something, say something is part of any plan. Melissa Bruner, 13 News.
Stormont has a translation service to assist in communicating with any visitors who might speak other languages. Large events also raise concerns about human trafficking. Stormont has specially trained sexual assault response nurses for those situations. David?